Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. I am Rob, your host, and tonight I have with me back on the show Dave Scott. Dave, how you doing?
Doing well, Rob. How's it going?
Good, man, good. You are frequently on the show. The guy to your right, my left, not on as often as we'd like him. I don't know if he doesn't like us or just doesn't think
he
it's
actually
fun.
works. So.
Oh, that's important for
has
some
to do
people.
a job.
Yeah.
Joby, this is guest appearance night.
Oh, is this what it is? Joby Leasack back with us. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Good. This is your show tonight. You get to run with it, lead it, take us through what we're doing. And
All right. Well,
you excited about that?
yeah. Not really, but yeah.
Well, you brought a bottle that we're going to drink through, try, talk about. You were in Nashville, so I'm just kind of setting it up for you. You were in Nashville, found this bottle, picked it up, unique and different, and you thought it'd be fun to kind of try it out, see what we think. I've never had it, Dave.
I've never had it either.
And Joby, have you had it? Did you
No,
try it
I've
at the
not.
distillery?
No, we were at the liquor store there in Nashville, and I'll have to plug their name in a minute. But they were sitting there. They had these bottles, and the lady Mackenzie was happy to share the history of it, and it was
She was?
yes, okay. She shared it. So it was pretty good. I mean, she went really into the history and stuff. And actually, that was called Old Number 5 back in the day, is what I understand. And there's a lot of, the original guy came from Germany, and there's a whole story behind it. But it was just intriguing me because she was very passionate about the story, and the bottle looked kind of cool too.
They got a cool label.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll give them that.
The label is definitely cool.
Yeah. And I like the stories. You sent the email over to us, and we got to read kind of what the story was. And it's on their webpage. I looked it up.
Yep.
But I like things like that. I mean, you and I, Dave, are into wine as well. And
Yeah.
I think it applies to anything you have. If it's good, you try to kind of do a little research and find out what's behind this. How did it get to this point? And so I thought it was interesting to hear the story, read the story about the Nelson family. And it's very interesting that the great, I don't know how many greats are in there, but several greats.
Yeah, three or four.
Grandfather was born like in 1850, something like that, in Germany.
Yep.
And in 1885, his dad decided that they were going to come over to the States. And in Germany, his dad had a grocery store, and I think it was a bakery, and made a little whiskey.
Yep.
Made some kind of liquor, and decided for whatever reason to come to the States and try to do the same thing. No, was it cheese? What was it that they did?
It was
Something, because when he first got to in the story coming over, they had some issues with the boat, and a few people didn't survive, and the father was one of them. So Mr. Nelson became the patriarch of the family at like age 15 years old, and ended up working in
Butcher business.
He was in the butcher business, and this was in Canada. This was up in Canada where they initially started, and they moved to Cincinnati because they wanted to get to where there was a community of more German people that they felt a little bit more comfortable, around people that were
Right. And
like
since the patriarch died on the trip over, the sons and the mother did the only thing that they knew how to do. I mean, they came over here to do something different, but since the father died, they opened a butcher shop. So,
But then it morphed into basically some of the history that she explained to me was this glass bottle.
oh yeah.
Yeah. So he was one of the first, I think, to use a glass bottle.
Oh, and yes, instead of
Well, this was the son. Yeah, once
Right.
the son
Right, when the son took
established
over,
the distillery. Yeah,
instead of selling it just in barrels or jugs.
And just to kind of go through the story a little bit quicker, the son, what was his name? Charles,
I think so.
Charles Nelson. He started working at that butcher and started doing some other things, and then worked at a distillery. He saw in this grocery store that liquor was selling and all this kind of stuff. So he started learning about whiskey, started working in a distillery, and then at some point, I'm kind of running through this quick, decided to buy that distillery, and that's what he did. But you're right. Then you fast forward through the years, he was the first one to use a glass bottle in Tennessee. I'm not sure if other states, Pennsylvania, Virginia, back then were big rye states. That was the whiskey that was really made in those areas. But I'm not sure if he was the first in the States or just in Tennessee to use a bottle.
I think it's Tennessee.
Okay.
But let's check that.
So this gentleman at like age 53 ended up passing away, and his wife ended up having to take over the distillery, and apparently did a great job for another, almost 20 years, 23 years.
So they got shut down by Prohibition.
Yeah, got shut down.
Yep.
And that's kind of where it ended.
Yeah.
And I think the last bottle distilled by that generation of family was in 1909, if I remember reading that right.
Wow.
Correct.
Which was many years ago.
Yeah.
But what ties it all together and makes it really cool is you fast forward, I think, 2006?
Correct.
That these two brothers are going with their dad into town, and they go to Green Briar, and they see the Nelson name on this historical site. What was it?
It was
Joey?
a historic marker. The Nelson Green Briar Distillery was a marker.
Nelson, with the Nelson family name on
Right.
it.
Yep.
And so they just started to do some research on it and found out
It was their family.
it's great-great-great-grandpa.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Charles and Andy.
And they did a bunch of research and got information, through all the whatever channels they needed to there in the city and stuff like that. And
They
eventually decided that they had the bug.
reopened the whole family business.
Yeah, I think they finished school first. One went to college and got a degree in business. The other one, I think he started working for a distillery, didn't he?
I think if I remember correctly, they worked with one of the distillers that was a Maker Marks distiller.
Yeah, he was the head distiller that worked with, that he kind of was taught
so
by.
Dave Pickerel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he studied under him, basically.
So then they what was it, 14 or something like that? They kind of took off and started.
2014, correct.
Yeah. Started making their own whiskey again. I'm not sure, Joe, but do you know how on her business card, it was interesting that it was affiliated somehow with Bell Mead?
I saw that, and
I'm not sure what
I
that
forgot.
affiliation.
I didn't mean that. I meant to ask her, and I just forgot. But I don't know how those. I don't know if she's reps for both, but it did. I don't know how they tie together.
I didn't see anything on the bottle that even, referenced Bell Mead. It's Green Briar Distillery for sure. But I thought that was a really cool story about this bourbon, to have that kind of a gap, almost a century.
Yeah. And just to have a family member stumble upon it
Yeah.
just by chance, not
by
go
chance.
looking, just
Yeah.
stumble upon it. Hey, that's got our name on it. Let's see what, and sure enough.
And this label actually has a patent, or is trademarked back in 1906.
So this is the same label they used back in the day?
That's according to from what I understand.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
But
That is very cool.
in today's times, I mean, it sure blends in with a lot of stuff you see.
It's
But it kind of like the colors kind of pop out to me when I first walked upon it.
Yep.
yeah, it's got nice
It's
color
definitely
on
a
it.
unique label.
I don't know how long it's aged. It doesn't stay straight. Did you see, Dave?
I have not seen.
Non-age stated.
Yep.
It was a.
And it's handmade sour mash, so Tennessee whiskey. So I guess they're
Joby, tell everybody what sour mash means.
Well, to me, it has to do with the corn.
You want to take it?
so sour
Dave.
mash is the distilling or the fermenting process, and instead of starting with a new batch of fermented corn and yeast every single time, they leave some in the distilling vats, in the fermenting vats, I should say, not distilling vats.
Now, the only sour mash I've had was the Michter's.
Yeah. So
Definitely a distinct taste.
So it's basically like sourdough bread, where you have
Exactly like
have
that.
a starter and
Some dead yeast, some live yeast. and
Let it ferment a little.
and it just
Keep feeding it.
and it speeds the process of the fermentation. That way, you don't have to start from ground zero every single time you want to make a new batch. So
Yeah. Which is, I like sour mash.
I do
I'm not
too.
sure if
What's another one besides? I've never. I can say I've only tried that.
there's several who make them. I mean, they're
so
not
Michter's-
uncommon.
you just said Michter's has a sour mash, but yeah, they're
Jack
not.
Daniels has a sour mash.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean,
And
all
guess
of them-
what? Jack Daniels is a
Bourbon.
Tennessee whiskey, yes, / bourbon.
It's bourbon.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, so you did you go to the distillery?
No, I did not.
Oh, you didn't? Okay,
I
okay.
did. I wish I did.
So was she at a liquor store?
And this liquor store, by the way, if anybody gets a chance to go to Nashville, it's on the outskirts off the highway. It's called Red Spirits and Wine. They had an amazing selection of barrel picks as well. When I walked in, I always ask when I walk in, do you have barrel picks? Most of the time, we have one or two. These guys had a huge dedicated shelf to it with like a bullpen. And where she was at, and another person from Buffalo Trace was there.
Oh, wow.
Tasting. And they had a very big selection. It was very spaced out. You could tell that they really cared about someone who wanted to come in there for bourbon. They had a great selection. So that place was really neat. If you're ever in Nashville, stop by there.
Did you guys get a pour of this? You want to try it?
Give it a shot.
Yeah,
literally.
We have a audience somewhat, right?
Yeah, we have
studio audience.
Yeah, you can introduce your friend.
We have a studio audience. We have Mr. Dustin, Mr. Daniel. I won't say your last name unless you let me. We didn't cite disclosures, but
this has got a good nose. I mean, it's a nice nose. I've had whiskeys that are higher proof that don't have a nose this good.
Yeah, it's
an odd proof. I've
91.
I don't know that I've ever seen another whiskey at 91.
Yeah, that's kind of like Michter's. It's like 93.6 or something.
I always laugh at Woodford too. Everything's 90.4.
Yep.
Like what the hell's up with the 0.4?
Right.
It means something. I don't know what it is.
it means they're actually measuring, right?
Supposedly, it's precision.
Batch whiskey.
So there's a note. If you carry out to like the third decimal point, and you're real precise.
Yeah. So we're gonna taste this. We're gonna give our honest feedback on what we think about it. What did you pay for it? I saw it at Specs today, and it just kind of caught my eye because you sent me the picture of the bottle. So I'm wondering
I think it was around $30.
Okay, so same as it is here. I didn't think it'd be too far off. I figured it'd be.
I did not realize though it was here in Texas.
Yeah, I didn't know it until I saw it today. I think William up there told me that it just had come in. They had it up in the front, kind of stacked up and on an end cap.
And I've seen it for a while. I mean, at least a couple of years on the shelf because
it's been here that long.
Because the label always popped.
Yeah,
I was like, man, that's a cool looking bottle,
but not enough to get you to buy one.
No,
that was quick. Okay,
no,
it was weak. It was good and then weak.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
But it just. I've picked the bottle up several times, read the label, and, just never felt compelled to buy it.
Put your $30 somewhere else.
Right.
Okay.
So now sour mash, this has the same profile for me when I try the Michter's. It gives that first little, I guess it's sour is what you want to say, but this one kind of smooths it. Didn't want to say smooth. It balances out.
He's learning.
That's right.
It balances out at the end.
Yep. To me,
Did you ever see what the mash bill was on this? Did it say online?
I have not seen what the mash bill.
I didn't see that. No.
So on the nose,
We have to have a statistician for all this. No. Nope, didn't have it.
It's very young.
and that's what I was going to say.
Very young.
To me, it tastes like corn.
Big time corn. This is heavy corn in the recipe.
Heavy corn with a little bit of wood influence, a little bit of barrel influence, but not very much.
It's not bad.
No.
For a young whiskey,
but
it's not bad.
But it is heavy corn.
Oh, yeah.
So where when you guys were in Nashville, did you ever stop at that place?
At Town Branch?
No, the Red Spirits and Wine.
Oh,
This
no.
place.
Nope, had no idea.
This is off the highway.
But you will next time, won't you?
I will. I got to do that, and I got to get to Elixir.
Elixir's a big one to get
Another one that has a lot
Great
of
picks.
Single barrel picks.
This isn't a bad little sour mash. This is actually, it's got a better finish than it does on the front of the palate and the mid palate. It's not very, kind of thin there.
Yep.
So the mash bill just says corn, wheat, and malted barley.
Yeah, I know.
So it is.
I
So it is
knew
a wheater.
Yeah, it doesn't have a percentage.
And I'm sorry, I remembered it was a wheater because in that story, it talked about that.
Well,
But I just didn't know what
that
percentage.
makes a little more sense.
That it's as sweet as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Got kind of a shrug of the shoulders and a thumbs up. Yeah, I don't mind.
Well, I think both these gentlemen are a little. Their palates are more on the lighter side, so it should kind of match up for them.
I get something like a bubble gum on it or something a little bit.
And I think that's
Bubble gum.
Yeah, like a little. Think about like juicy fruit or something.
I can see the juicy fruit. Yep.
Yeah. What are we doing after this? You're loading us up, Joey, on some bottles tonight.
Well, I have a story on something I've never tried. It's good old Blantons, except
The horsey bottle.
correct. Except this one has been untouched, and it has a story behind it. This bottle has traveled a long way.
It looks like both of those have been untouched.
Yes, they're brand new.
Have you've had
I've
Blantons before?
Yes, I have.
And
Blanton's Gold.
you've had Blanton's Gold, okay.
And then this one is the straight from the barrel.
And you've never had that.
Never had that.
You're in for a treat.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we need to prime the palate because what is that, almost 130?
128.8.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's the 0.8 again. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I was trying to look at the difference between the bottles.
They're both 750s.
No, that one's actually
Is it a 700?
700.
Oh, from here I'm going, it looks the same.
And that's why I was like, that extra 50 milliliters that we get in the United States doesn't.
Well, look where it is on the shoulder, too, the fill point. And you haven't poured anything out of there yet, have you?
Yeah, we poured.
Oh, okay. I was getting ready to go.
No, and then the Angels didn't get that much.
It's like, wait a second.
Yeah, but I've had straight from the barrel a couple times, and
Yeah.
it is not
Not even close.
It's not even close to the standard offering.
Yeah. If you have a friend in Europe and they offer to send you the green label,
Yeah,
don't
do it.
Unless you're looking for a shelf decoration.
Yep, unless you're wanting to complete.
That one's like a really like.
That one's
80
80
proof.
proof.
Yeah, 80.
Same way with the Takara Black in Japan. It's 80 proof.
Now, when I was in Nashville, I learned that there was a one for Greece.
Mm-hmm. And because when you texted me this morning that you said out of the blue he sent you this, and I thought you said he's sending me the blue, which is the Polish release,
Yes.
which goes for about $1,500 a bottle.
So there's a store, and I can't remember the name of it. It was all high end there. It's downtown in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, Justin's House of Liquor.
Man, that place was.
Or Justin's House of Bourbon.
Bourbon.
I mean, you go in there and you can.
Oh yeah,
burn through some cash if you really want some bourbon.
When we went in there, we just chuckled because all the tater bottles, the Weller Special Reserve, all the stuff that we can get regularly on the shelf, people are going crazy over it. I mean, the Weller Special Reserve is normally like $22 for the 750, and it was like $80, and they were thrilled to be getting it. It's like, you people
the cool place
lost your minds.
The cool place about that, they had a little small bar, and you could try before you buy, which I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, we stayed in there for a while looking, and pretty much all of their other stuff, other than whether you want to call it allocated or stuff that's really trendy right now, everything else was right in line price wise with what we have here.
Now, what really blew me away is when I stayed at the Marriott downtown, and they had one room with the collection, and I've never seen there stacks of Blantons, stacks of all kinds of, all the BTAC stuff, just kind of with a glass case. You could walk up to it and just look and see if you've never seen the bottle before. It was like a museum almost.
Yeah.
Let's enjoying this conversation. Let's finish up.
Let's give our review of that.
Yeah, of the Green Briar. Then we can move on to some conversation and some Blantons.
All right.
I looked at their website, and tell me if I'm wrong, Joby. I didn't see another whiskey. Do they have something else that's out? I didn't see anything else on there, just this one. That's why I think there's some affiliation with Belle Meade and maybe these two brothers. I don't know what it is.
I think they did have a couple others. I wasn't sure. Which
So
ones,
so is their sour mash? They are distilling themselves
That's what I thought. That's the way I read it.
because maybe they're affiliated with Bell Mead somehow. Because I know Bell Mead is in that area. I mean, because Bell Mead is the Nelson's distillery.
Yep.
So
produced and bottled by Nelson's Green Briar Distillery.
Yeah, but Bell Mead is all sourced.
It is all sourced.
MGP.
I think you're right. They have, on their website, they have a picture of the bottle, but then they have comparison to some older bottles that they sold, back in the day.
Yeah, I think this is the only one that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm assuming that they're going to try to grow this brand and make some other things.
Yeah.
This apparently is, and I think I remembered reading in the story that they found Grandpa's recipe, and
Correct.
This is what that's from. That's in honor of him, I guess.
Gotcha.
So give me your buy, pass, or
Just because when
NFW.
just because when I every now and then when I see that Michter's sour mash, when you run across it, I kind of like it because it's a different flavor and taste. So if I saw this, I'd buy this. I mean, it's not something I'm going to search for, but if I want to try something a little different, now that I know the history, I know I'm drinking something that's an older, recipe that was actually from someone's grandpa. There's history behind it. It's kind of neat when you knowing something a little bit about it rather than just walking up and.
That always makes things more fun.
I want a sour mash.
Yeah, you enjoy them a little more when you either know the people who are making it or know the story behind it. Dave, your thoughts?
For me, other than the nostalgia part of it and having it in my bar collection, whatever, I don't think I would buy it again.
Yeah.
I just, there's a whole lot of other stuff that's in that $30 to $35 price range that better fits my palate. I mean, obviously this is young.
Yeah. It's a weeder. It's sweet.
Yep.
But if you like that,
right.
To me, this is a great bourbon for the new people getting into it, wanting to start drinking things on the neat side,
Yep.
I think the proof is a great proof for something that you want to drink neat. It's not so low that you punch all the flavor out of it.
Right.
At 91, I mean, there's some great 90 to 95 proof bourbons. We're getting ready to try one.
Yep.
The Blantons is at 93. But I think also that it's a wheated bourbon.
Yeah.
And, it's young, you can tell. But, a lot of young whiskeys have that bite on the palate where it almost drinks hotter than it is.
Yep. All the ethanol shines through.
Yeah. This one doesn't.
No.
So it's another reason, I think, for somebody going, I want to start drinking neat. I think this is a good place to start just because of the sweetness on it.
Yep.
The price at $30, you can't beat it. The proof at 91. I mean, you and I just kind of in our bourbon journey are a little further along. So I probably wouldn't buy it, but if I were at a friend's house and they poured it for me, I would absolutely drink it. It wouldn't be something I'd just sneak away and pour out.
I wouldn't say that it's off-putting at all. It's just not, if that were a rye bourbon, not a rye, but if it had rye in the mash bill, as young as I think that it is, I think you would have that.
You have that bite on
that
it.
That bite,
yeah.
Like you said, I think the ethanol would shine through way more than it does with the wheat.
Yeah. And to give a comparison, it's kind of like you and I we're wine guys too. We're not going to drink Decoy anymore. Right?
Not unless it's the only thing to drink.
Yeah. It's the fifth bottle of the night.
Right.
Yeah.
So, go get that Decoy Merlot.
Joby likes it. He's pouring some more.
So box wine is out.
Box wine is making a comeback.
Yep.
I see a bigger shelf. When I was in HEB the other day, I noticed it's not just that one little shelf. It's like a long shelf now.
That's COVID, buddy. That's what helped that.
Yep.
Joby likes this. He poured another pour.
Shifting market, I think, in the wine.
I kind of like the smell too on the wine. But I like it a little bit. That's a little bit, that's sweeter stuff.
When I first put my nose in it,
that's what she said.
The first thing that popped into my head was
I thought you were going to say popped into my mouth.
No.
Okay.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
The first thing that popped into my head was Garrison Brothers.
Oh, see, I don't get that.
No.
Really?
Garrison's Brothers is so strong. I mean, it's way over. I mean, I'm just not a fan.
Now, just the nose, not on the palate, anything.
And maybe it does on the nose.
Because Garrison Brothers is young, you get major corn up front, but Garrison Brothers just it's way over oaked for how young
and overpriced.
That's a given.
I haven't had it in a while, but I just remember when I would nose Garrison, I'd be like, no. And this one I didn't, so that's why I kind of not too bad. No. All right,
and the longer it sits here, I've gotten used to it, and still don't think I would buy a bottle.
It's not bad. It doesn't make me get. Look, I've had plenty of whiskeys where I go, okay, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Not my thing. This doesn't do that to me. I would drink this. I just honestly wouldn't buy it. It's not something I go, I want this in my collection.
Yep.
It's a cool looking bottle. Carter would be all over the bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is almost reminds me of the Old Forester bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very similar shape.
I did that tour, that distillery tour, and that you're right. They had that whole collection there of the all the history of the different bottles, and it does kind of have that nostalgia.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do this? We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come right back and dive into Blantons. See what we think about those. Pour those up. Give you time to finish that second pour of this sour mash you like.
Handmade.
All right, everybody. We will be right back and continue this conversation. All right, we're back, and we've got a couple Blantons poured in front of us. I didn't realize this. We were looking at the bottles, and their ricks are 10 and 17, which isn't too far off. But we have a dump date on the straight from the barrel of 8/19 on 20, and then this one's 8/21 of 20.
Wow!
So within 2 days of each other, these got bottled. So
and one got shipped to Germany.
One got shipped to Germany.
And we'll get into that story.
Yeah, we'll let our man tell that story.
I work for a German-owned company, and every now and then I have to travel over there. Sometimes with customers, sometimes we have a sales meeting or whatever. And it's a little town there. Well, it's not little, but it's a town of Aachen, and it's kind of the big engineering school there. So a lot of college students. So they have a really nice high-end wine and cigar store there, and walked in there with a customer, and we were just looking around. He liked cigars, and I happened to walk by a counter, and I looked, and I saw a bottle of Blantons sitting there. And this was kind of a little bit around the John Wick time, so I kind of chuckled. I said,
"Who's that?"
I don't know. Keanu Reeves.
Did that do anything for Blantons at all?
No,
I don't know, but at the time,
it did.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it did. But
for taters out there.
Yeah, but I just remember at the time that was there, and I thought maybe that's why there's a bottle of Blantons here because of John Wick. I don't know. So I was missing actually a letter, so I asked the lady there, and she looked at me funny, like, "What are you talking about? What letter?" So I showed her the letter on there.
So she didn't even know there were letters on the horses?
She had no idea. She had, and in Aachen, a lot of people there speak very good English. So it wasn't like she didn't understand Sprechen Sie Deutsch, So, so next thing I know, she's reaching down in the cabinet and just stacking boxes of Blantons all over the counter, and started opening up, trying to look for my letter, and so I went outside. There was a couple of colleagues with me, and I said, "Hey, guys, you might want to come in here," because a couple of guys really are into bourbon there. So they came in, and they were like, "What the heck? What is all these bottles doing on this?" And so,
did they limit you to one each?
No. They said I had to give them a whole explanation about it, and so
I would have taken them and dropped them off at a shipping company and said, once a month or once a week, send me one.
Yeah. So anyway, so I kind of got to know one of the guys there, and he said, "Well, if I ever get anything, I'll email you." So I said, "Okay." So I emailed him, and out of the blue one day, Dave, out of the blue, he
not the blue,
out of the blue. He emails me, and he says, "Is this something you might be looking for?" Well, it was straight from the barrel, and I said, "Sure." And he says, "I have one bottle." I said, can you set that aside for me? So a gentleman from the factory that I work with went and picked it up. And that's around the time of COVID. So it sat there. And nobody could go back and forth. Usually, we'd have people go there and come back or vice versa. Well, that thing, I started thinking about it. These bottles come from Buffalo Trace all the way across the pond, sit there, and then this bottle sat there for a year and a half and then came all the way back across to Texas. And so that's how this bottle arrived here. Now, the other bottle, I think I just bought that at the store.
I think you did too, because it's a 750, not a 700.
Yeah, I just bought it at a store. So,
Here in Houston.
Here in Houston. So it was,
it's
crazy.
Yeah, because they're bottled 2 days apart.
Yeah, 2 days apart.
I need to go play the lottery or something. I don't know.
What I'm wondering, Dave, maybe you know the answer. The straight from the barrel typically has been, along with the gold and some other ones, but those two that we like,
Right.
Overseas, I'll say, not just Europe, but Japan, other places.
Right.
Never released here. I don't know why when Blantons got big, they didn't go, well, we need to put some back in. Now they finally have. They said, okay.
The gold. I don't.
Yeah, this one too.
Straight from the barrel is now
should be out
US.
this month.
Okay.
Yeah. My question is, I wonder if they're going to change it to the 750 when they release it here. Because it's always been a 700.
Right.
Be interested to see.
Why do they want to cheat you out of 50 milliliters?
Yeah, I don't think they changed the price. So they make more bottles if you think about it, depending on how many. And I'd be okay with that because if it means another couple bottles that I have an opportunity to get.
Right.
I just remembered I have 2 of those small bottles.
Is that from WB Liquor?
No, it's actually from Costco.
Yeah, that's
WB.
WB.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I always. I never even look at the deal.
The
sign.
375s. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a liquor store that's not even affiliated with. You don't have to have a membership or anything to go.
Correct.
In. Yeah.
Correct.
A lot of people think it's part of Costco, and it's not.
I can't go in there. I don't have my Costco.
Yeah.
My wife dumped Costco here recently. She went to Sam's.
Did she really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
Convenience, I guess. I mean, Sam's doesn't have a liquor store hooked up to it. So
I know. I was
that's
like,
a ding from me.
That's right.
Yeah. Because I'll tell you what, that WB Liquor gets some good wine in there, too.
Mm-hmm. They do.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, let's what we did is we poured your standard barrel, the single barrel. And, single barrel, I mean, hit or miss, right?
Yep.
I would say more hit with Blantons. If you were talking about Henry McKenna, I'd say more miss.
Yeah.
But Blantons, I think you hit more than you don't. So it's always going to be a little bit different, or could be. So I keep that in mind. But I nosed both of them. Have you guys done that yet?
I have.
I mean, quite similar on the nose. The profile, you get some of these barrels that are just way different and being dumped the same time period. And they're very similar.
Maybe that has something to do with it.
Good.
Now, you guys did the big tour there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Just a couple months ago.
were you in the one in this one?
Same warehouse.
Same warehouse, right?
Yeah, it's just all about
I only got
taking it from, that's just straight from the barrel, so it just goes in the bottle.
Right.
This one, they add water until they get it to 93.
I thought gold was 93.
No, gold's 103 or
103.
103. Okay.
This is 93.
All right.
And then some of them are 80 proof that are pass.
Yeah. Because I think the green
It's the worst one of all.
is 80 and the Takara Black from Japan is 80.
But what's the red? It's 93. isn't it?
93.
Yeah.
I almost brought that one tonight.
Oh,
just
that's
so,
the one where I saw 90. Okay.
Just so we could see
Kind of compare that.
if there's any difference.
That would
or
have
if
been
it's
interesting.
just strictly packaging.
Yeah. We'll need to do that one time.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see.
Well, that one goes a long way.
It can't be any different, though.
That bottle traveled probably a lot farther, right?
Yep.
That one came from Japan
That one was from Japan. Yeah.
and back across.
It can't be any different. It's mash bill, too.
No.
So if it's 93, I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be the same.
It's got to be the same.
Got to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
Other than whatever barrel influence that changes
Right.
the
So
characteristics.
I didn't get to go. I went to Buffalo Trace. I didn't get it on the tour, but I got to look into the room where they were bottling them. They let me look into it.
Not only did we do the tour, we did a barrel pick there.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. Did he tell you who our tour guide was?
Yes,
for the
I
whole
did.
day? Have you guys
Yes,
seen
he did.
Nate? So Freddie Johnson was our,
Was our tour
guide
guide
all day.
and barrel pick.
was in there helping us do the barrel pick.
Yep.
You don't know who Freddie Johnson is? You want to ask him to leave or you want me to?
Everybody has to,
Gotta start somewhere.
I'm a novice. I gotta have. I brought my Padawan over here.
I just figured if we were doing Blantons, Joby, you would have had a little class with them before.
I got a Padawan over there. I'm not quite Obi-Wan.
I'm just kidding.
You're Obi-Wan. I'm just
No.
I'm a young Luke.
Freddie Johnson, there's a show, Neat, but he retired from, I think he was an engineer, civil engineer or something like that, and he retired from his 9 to 5, and his dad and his granddad before him did nothing but worked at Buffalo Trace. And so when he retired, he was like, well, I still want to do something, so he started working at Buffalo Trace and has become, just does a great job.
Yeah.
You've seen the show, so, his energy, his knowledge, the way he delivers the message, he just makes you excited just to be there and hear the stories and things.
It's amazing that he was an engineer. Yeah. Not knocking engineers because I'm an engineer, but
we could tell. I'm kidding. No, but he is. He's a lot of fun, and he just makes the experience better, if you ask me. And it's not just him. I've had other people, whether it be at wineries or wherever, that you go, okay, that guy was awesome. Yeah. Maker's Mark would be an example of that. That young guy went, okay, he's going to be here 60 years. He did a great job. But yeah, Freddie was highlighted on a show called Neat about bourbon, and that's where he really got a lot of notoriety, where people started to know who he was. But for us, we had no idea going in that he was going to be our tour guide.
Pure surprise.
And a big treat.
Yeah, when they said Freddie is going to be your tour guide today, and we were like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
and it was.
Yeah,
yeah,
no doubt about it.
It was incredible.
So when is your barrel ready?
We don't know.
We have no idea.
And it was just Buffalo Trace?
Yeah, we did these in mid-August.
Yep.
Yeah, the second and third week of August.
Yep. And it was the standard Buffalo Trace.
Was the pick this year. Mm-hmm. And we also went to Four Roses, picked the Four Roses. We picked an Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Yep.
And we did a Maker's Mark.
Mm-hmm.
So you just point at a barrel, right? And
or
you get to try staves from different ones.
So at Four Roses, they rolled out all 10 barrels, all 10 recipes. So, and you taste through them blind. They've got the barrel head covered with a cover. So you can't be like, we're definitely going to pick an OESO or OBSO. You can't. They've got the barrel head covered. You've got 10 sample glasses. You taste through them, and you pick whichever one is your favorite.
You don't know. You don't know what you're picking.
But you don't know what you're picking.
Do you know anything about Four Roses? Just other than Four Roses? Okay.
Just what I've tried
at
your house.
2 yeast strains which help them create 10 different recipes.
Really?
So when
2
Dave
yeast
says,
strains, and then they've got 2 different mash bills of low rye and high rye. So
yeah, that's why I say 10 different mash bills,
right,
based on some other things that go into it. But everything's going to be OB or OE to start. E being the lower of the rye, 20%
rye,
and the B being the higher, which is
35%.
35%. Wow. And then it changes from there depending on if it's an SK or whatever, an the O's or whatever it might be, OESO, OBSO, whatever it might be. There's 10 different recipes that you can get. So when Dave says they rolled out 10 barrels, it wasn't like 10 barrels that are all the same. You just got to pick which one you like. These are 10 different profiles. Yeah. Where when we went to, say, Elijah Craig, they rolled out 3 barrels that you get to pick from, but they're all basically the same thing. You just get to see, based on barrel profile, which one you like better. And you taste through them and go, okay, I like this one better.
Because at Elijah, or at Heaven Hill, I think our barrels range in age from 8 years to 11.
Yeah, we had an 8-year, which was 132 proof. Then we had that a 10-year, which was 134.4.
Yeah.
And what's his name was
we
all over
had somebody in our group that was like,
That's the one.
That's the one we're going to pick.
The guy told us the proofs when he shouldn't have. Right. We didn't want to know that.
Yeah.
But the one that was the more balanced whiskey that just kind of met all the things you look for in a bourbon was
the oldest.
It was an 11-year, but it was the lowest proof.
Right, and it was 128.4,
4 or 8, something like that.
Yeah.
So,
and then at
wait a second, y'all tried 10
at 9 a.m.
At 9 a.m. at Four Roses.
10 barrel proof whiskeys
at 9 a.m. And went back for seconds.
And went back for seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went right from there to Bardstown to go eat something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Makers was probably the most unique experience.
It's a science project.
Just because it's a science project. So they're not rolling out barrels because at Makers, everything starts from the same
46 cast strength. That's your foundation.
And then they have five different stave profiles
that have been like toasted, charred, to a different.
Yeah. It used to be Italian mocha? That's now the.
Yeah, they got rid of the mocha and put in the other French one, wasn't it?
Mondial
however you say
something
it.
like that. But but anyway, so you can pick any combination of those five different stave profiles, and they put
to add to 10,
and they put
total
10,
of 10.
10 staves in the barrel for another 6 weeks.
I think it's 6 weeks.
So which barrel is going to be done first? Which one do you think?
We don't know. I mean, word is that, I don't know. It's hard to say. So until we get official word, but we would think at any point now these should start rolling in. And who knows? They could be here in a distributor's warehouse, and he's just.
I think the Makers was going to take the longest because it still had to age
for 6 weeks
for another 6 weeks.
Where Four Roses, she's like, we'll bottle it in the next couple of days.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's a single barrel.
Right.
They don't have to do anything. Same with the Elijah Craig.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like you said, it unfortunately doesn't get shipped straight from the distiller to the retailer. You have to go through the wholesaler, Glazers or Republic, and that's how stuff ends up on somebody else's shelf. So,
I see.
But
okay, well let's dive into these two because I'm curious to see what. Did you guys want to do this little side by side with us? No. It's very cool to see the difference in these two because they're the same bourbon, but one's just been proofed down to 93, and the other one is at 128.8.
Which one first? Well, I know they've tried this one. So.
Well, what do you think on the nose, Joby? I mean, this is going to be about you because Dave and I have had the straight from the barrel, and let me just say thank you for cracking this one and sharing it because these are a treat. I mean, anybody who has a straight from the barrel, that's a badass bourbon on your shelf. That's really good stuff.
Yep.
And so to share it and let us have a sip, we appreciate it, man.
So the straight, it's to me, it's always initially a cross with marshmallows and cinnamon. I don't know. That's
definitely. I would think some cinnamon. This is got like what is this
from the standard offering?
No, this is
that's the straight from the barrel.
Oh, straight from the barrel. That has even more cinnamon for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that one's like really stands out.
This mash bill is 2. What is this? 12% rye, isn't it? I think on mash bill 2.
It's a secret.
It's not a secret.
They don't really.
I thought they did.
I didn't think they advertised that.
Do they not? Where
I thought they just said mash bill 1 or mash bill 2 and don't really tell you what the mash bill is. People guess 18%.
Why did I think that I knew that had 12% in there?
I don't know, but we can research while we're
going to have to
nosy.
reach out to my friend Google, see what he thinks.
But
it definitely has the burn.
in the straight from the barrel? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't want you to try that one first.
Oh, you didn't?
No. Because proof-wise, we'll build your palate up on the other one from 93.
Well,
and you just lied to me and said you didn't.
I thought because I tried this one that you didn't care.
No, after this, you want to go to because it's going to be a higher proof.
Let's see.
So you went from 80 here. That'll be 93, and then we'll finish with 128.8.
Oh, that one's nothing.
Yeah, now.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Let me clear my palate.
I know it may not be cool to say that you actually like Blantons, but for what it is, I'd still always enjoy it. Now, is it overly complex? No, but the proof point and flavor profile, I like it. Is it the best bourbon I've ever had? No.
No, but I mean, I think anybody who gets into the hobby of collecting bourbon, this is absolutely one of the first ones that you want in your collection. It's a cool bottle. That's really
say
what
the bottle is sets it apart.
Yeah, it says
between 10 and 12%.
12%.
Yeah, I'd never seen that before. So that's the mash bill 2?
And one they say is 10% or less of rye.
Really?
Yeah, on mash bill. Which I see that because I get a lot more cherry on that mash bill 1. Yeah.
And it's only corn, rye, and malted barley.
Correct.
In both of those mash bills.
Correct. Yeah. And the malted barley is not going to be any more than probably, I mean, on the low end 5, on the high end probably 12%.
Right.
So it's a lot of corn.
Yep.
Yeah.
This one's a little
Are you comparing them?
regular Blanton's is a little nuttier. This has a little more.
Yeah, I definitely get that Buffalo Trace cherry.
No doubt.
I mean, that tastes like a Luden's cough drop. A little bit.
But I get some like milk chocolate in there too.
I mean, there's definitely other stuff, but
Not just a cherry bomb, but
no.
That's one of the things that when you drink Buffalo Trace that stands out is that cherry
Right.
kind of.
Yep.
It's interesting when I first drove up to Buffalo Trace. It's kind of when it's already a real pretty area you're driving in, and then you here's what you see all the time in the water tower.
Yep.
It did feel like I walked back in time,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a little city in there with their little production.
Exactly.
going on.
But that's what
like
what I thought was the coolest.
Me too.
Of the tours, because the others are very they hide all of the production and the
They're developed for tourists to come in.
correct. Whereas Buffalo Trace is a living,
It
breathing,
is.
working distillery.
It was like Willy Wonka
Yeah.
kind of thing, except for when they said
That's a great way to put it.
it was. It was like people everywhere walking around like oompa, oompa.
Yeah.
But the only thing was until they said, "Oh, we need you to come over here and we need to take your temperature." And I'm like,
I had my picture of my.
We had one
vaccination
in our
card.
group that, because if you showed your proof of vaccination card, they would let you,
Just give you a little wristband.
and you didn't have to wear a mask on the tour. Well, one of the guys that was with us said, "Screw that, man! I'm not showing my card. I'll wear a mask." And
I said, "Here's my card."
"Yep, me too. Me too. I'm not wearing a
I
damn
ain't wearing
mask."
no damn mask.
Yeah. So he stood his ground.
but it was it was just a whole different because even the Old Forester, which I like,
Yep.
is it's the small version of
That's the downtown one.
of the
right?
downtown,
Right,
right? But you don't. I don't think I saw 4 or 5 people working
Right.
there.
Well, and that's kind of just their tasting room and everything.
Yeah, and they even say that we
Just
only
a
make,
little bit of the production line is visible.
Yeah.
just for show.
Right.
I mean, they even said like we only make 40,000, whatever, small number, but it was definitely when you went to Buffalo Trace. Wow!
Did you go to anywhere else that was outside of Louisville? You went to Buffalo Trace, but
I didn't know. I didn't have. That's the one we had time to go look at and just rock around.
the reason I'm asking that question is because the Buffalo Trace, you didn't really see all the rick houses, all the warehouses. But when you went to some place like Four Roses, or you went someplace like Wild Turkey, or you went someplace like Heaven Hill, and when we put the drone up, I mean, it just like it went forever. All these different, and that was really cool.
That was
to
really
see.
cool.
Yeah.
To see how many millions of barrels they have.
Yeah,
tucked
because
away.
we always go, well, we know there's some warehouses over there, but, I'm going, I don't know. I mean, they got big warehouses, and they are big.
Yep.
And I'm going, okay, they got, 5 to 10. Nah.
No.
They got like 50 to, this is, and some of these places, Buffalo Trace being one of them, new $1 billion expansion.
Yep.
And they're putting up all kinds of new warehouses, new stills, and their production, they're looking at just pumping out some stuff. Cross our fingers, knock on wood, that accessibility for some of these things are go up, because I'd love to be able to find 107 on the shelf or, foolproof or
Right.
Do you think you'll think the production could go up that much that you would find that?
I don't know. The demand is so high. I don't know where they are. It's hard to judge that.
Even in limiting one bottle, golly, here in this town, anything hey, there's such and such at Total Wine or something. They're gone.
Here's what's interesting to me. If you look at Buffalo Trace and some of their products, Weller Special Reserve. For us in Texas, and I say Texas because I've been as far as El Paso and all the way over here, it's everywhere. Yeah. It's on the shelf. It's available. Weekly. Whether it's a liter, a 750, a 175, it's there.
I mean, you can be sure that it's going to that supply at that moment will be gone within a couple days, if not a day. But it'll be right back next week.
Yeah. And when we were my point there is that I think we get a little spoiled or a little comfortable because we go, I don't even have one in my bar right now. I'm not even, if I want one, I'll just be like, I'll get it whenever.
Right.
I need to buy it right
it's
now.
kind of like Ohio because they get
107.
The 107, and they're the same way as we are down here with Special Reserve.
When we were in Louisville at Justin's House of Bourbon, there was a guy in there from Virginia, and he was going, Special Reserve, and it's only $169. I want to get that. And I'm like, dude, I can send you 5 of those for that price.
Just give me your number, and I'll ship them to you.
No, I wouldn't ship them to him. I'd drive them.
Right.
I never ship bourbon.
Yeah,
you can't
ship
bourbon. No, I'd drive
that
it
would
over.
be bootleg.
I don't mind driving to Virginia.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
You'd be on that moonshine TV show if you did that.
I would. Yeah. All right, what do you think?
To me, big difference between the two. I mean, of course, it's I mean, you definitely feel the burn with the higher proof, which I like, but I didn't think it'd be. It's interesting coming out of the same, just if you uncut, how much of a difference it makes in it.
There is a vast difference in mouthfeel.
Yeah, exactly.
As soon as it hits your tongue,
like, wow.
I mean, the regular Blantons.
I haven't tried the barrel proof.
The standard release.
Y'all
I
feel
wouldn't say that it's thin, but it's not viscous.
Okay, see, I was going to say I really like that. It's what it is, 6 to 8 years, something like that.
Yep.
I still get that creaminess on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which it's a characteristic that I like a lot.
Yep.
On a bourbon.
Then you go to the straight from the barrel, completely different.
Okay, I haven't tried that one yet. This is a single barrel from Blantons that I go, this is really good.
Yeah.
This 93 proofer is absolutely fantastic.
But
really, really good.
A little bit that I've heard on regular Blantons though is I've had the little negative thing or something I've said is it tastes better if you got to put a little water in it. You got to put to open up the taste. And I've tried that and
in which one?
In the regular Blantons. And I was even in a, remember that one time I told you I found this Blanton's bottle like off in the rum section at a Specs.
Yeah.
And
San
I picked
Marcos
it up
or New Braunfels?
in New Braunfels, right?
Yep.
And I pick it up and I'm walking and the guy comes into me, I got stuff way better than that Blanton's. You have to put water in that to make it taste good. And that was like the 4th time I've kind of heard that. And I was like,
I've never heard that to be just kind of a thing. I mean, I think it applies to any whiskey. If there's something that's not hitting you right, put a little drop or two and see what it does to it and see if you like it a little better. But and maybe, depending on the proof, you might put 2 drops or you might put 10 just until you get to a point you go, okay, I like that.
Yep.
John Wick, he drinks it neat.
Neat.
Good.
No water. No agua in that.
Good.
Maybe a little blood from all the shooting and stuff.
But again, single barrels, and I think, we're are you in Houston Bourbon? You are, right? Houston Bourbon Society and all of those.
I don't have Facebook.
So the answer to that would be no.
No.
You are. Daniel, are you a bourbon guy, Daniel, at all? A little bit? Little? Not much? When you drink bourbon, do you drink it neat or you prefer a splash of Coke? Splash of Coke? Oh, you drink it neat? Okay.
Careful,
well, then, if you drink it neat, I'm going to say you're a bourbon guy. So, not a cocktail guy, not a mixer. You like it neat. So, okay. Cool. Well, I think what I was going to say is I think in the bourbon groups, a lot of us, I'll include me, kind of get snobby about bourbon. I think we do the same thing with wine. We judge people a little bit. And I think like anything, like we talked about, we don't drink decoy anymore. You get to a point in I'll say it again, your journey.
Yep.
And, that's what you used to drink. And now you've started drinking things that you go, I don't drink that anymore. I have these. I don't open them up a lot, but, there's some that are great. Now, there's some that are really bad.
Yeah.
Were you at Daryl's house that night? He brought that store pick from Specs.
I can't remember if I was there that night or not.
He opened it up. We all tried it and went, that is trash.
From like 2019.
Something like that.
Christmas release.
Yeah.
What was the one that he had? That we had the wine bottle one that we were at his house that one time, or you brought
A wine bottle?
it was bourbon in a wine bottle. It was all real pretty.
Bourbon in a wine bottle makes me think of E.H. Taylor.
I don't know. It had a funny label.
Funny label. I don't know what
I'll
that
have to
would
think
be.
about that one.
Yeah, you throw me off there with the funny label. But taller bottle. Oh, maybe it was a smoke wagon?
No, it wasn't Smoke Wagon. I know that one.
Funny bottle. What was the funny bottle?
I think there was like a unicorn on it or something. I don't know. It was maybe that was after too many. Maybe that was after too many. I don't know.
But my point is, I think Blanton's is still a very solid bourbon.
I do too.
When you can get it at $50, $55, $60,
But
it's
I
worth
think
the buy.
I think that's where the rub lies, is that people have become, in the bourbon community, have become jaded, because at one time it was in the $30-something range, but
So was Henry McKenna.
yep.
So
were all of them.
Yeah.
But the way that the bourbon market has exploded and people go crazy over it, whether it's Buffalo Trace allocating it, your local store allocating it, people have become jaded because, you're not chasing BTAC. I mean, it's Blanton's.
Yeah. And again, we're in Texas. If you want a bottle of Blanton's, you can find one.
Oh, yeah.
You have to work a little bit, but you can get one. Anybody can get one.
Yep.
There's places around the country where, same with Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
We can
you
get
never
that.
see it.
There's really not a whole lot that, are allocated that in Texas. You don't have, a decent opportunity to get, and some one way or another. Obviously there's some like William LaRue Weller. And
Right.
Eagle
We're
Rare
definitely
17,
spoiled in this market.
But kind of all the, if you're in a tier allocated, the first, second, and maybe the third, not the fourth tier, but the first, second, third, you can kind of get most of those.
Yep.
So
For some reason, every time I go down to Corpus, I could easily find a bottle of E.H. Taylor Bottle and Bond. I don't know what it is.
Well,
right
which bottled and bond? They're
small
all
batch.
bottled.
The small
Oh,
batch.
Yeah.
that's a great one. Did you pick it up?
Oh, I pick it up every time.
Okay, good man.
Every time I go fishing in Rockport, I text him, in Spanky's, there are 5 bottles here.
Did you give one? How come I never get that text?
Oh, because you don't fish.
Yes, I do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
What do you fish for?
the same thing you do.
Fish.
E.H. Taylor.
They're up there.
No, to be honest,
I've seen your collection.
I'm a freshwater fisherman. I've never
You're
saltwater fished.
catfish?
So. No.
Well, you made some good saltwater fish that
Well,
one day
you
when we were
provided
trying.
them
it
on
was
the
good.
half shell.
It was very good.
I'm ready for another night of that.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So's my wife. That was good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I've never had it that way before.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
So you never picked up a bottle of E.H. Taylor small batch for Daniel or Dustin?
This guy's got a hookup. He's got
a hookup? He's got a hookup.
And this
Okay.
guy's got a hookup. They just don't.
You
They
talking
just,
about like family or something?
Yeah, he's got some family in some high places.
Gotcha.
So they're holding out. I bet you if you go to their house, they got like shelves of it.
So they're kind of what do they call it when you in poker or something? You're doing that. You're
Bluffing.
not bluffing, but like in pool or whatever. You're playing a game. You're
They're hustling.
hustling. Yeah. Trying to think of the other term I'm thinking of, but yeah, that's in the right area. Okay, I'm gonna dive into this straight from the barrel. 'Cause
Here we go.
This is on the nose, man. I just don't drink it because it smells so good. Mm-hmm. So I was saying that we're very, very lucky, but when you think about how popular, to your question earlier about, the big expansion for Buffalo Trace, I don't know that it'll ever get to a point. I doubt. Well, I don't know. I don't know where we are in the trajectory of bourbon. David Jennings, Rare Bird 101, came on the show, and he asked the question to me and Carter about how many millions of bottles right now in the United States are there on people's shelves that aren't open?
Unopened, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great question.
And he said at some point, and I'm kind of getting there, I've stopped chasing and hunting.
Yep.
I mean, I have enough, one. And two, I've kind of gotten to the point where I go, I'm a huge fan of Wild Turkey.
Yep.
So everything that I want from them is on the shelf, whether it's Rare Bird 101 or any of the Russell's products. Their rye I love. The Russell's 10-year rye is great. But there's other lines as well, whether it's, Four Roses Small Batch Select. It's at 104 proof. I think it's fantastic. So there's enough from the Old Forester. I mean, I can go Whiskey Row and just be happy all the time.
All the time on that one. What about we did that one show about the bottom shelf, ones.
The Shelf Heroes.
Shelf Heroes.
Yeah.
Single barrel, Evan Williams single barrel now.
Yep.
Well, Evan Williams single barrel, but if you do the Jim Beam single barrel at 108 proof for like $32 screw top, I've done that to a couple guys in some blinds, and it wins against some really good bourbons.
But even that single barrel, Evan Williams is getting a little harder and harder to find.
I saw a post on Facebook today. It wasn't in Texas, but they had the Evan Williams single barrel on the shelf with a sign limit 1.
See?
Are you serious?
It's like, really?
And that's the thing. I think that one podcast I was with you on, I talked about one of the first things I ever tried was Blantons. And the guy had tons on the shelf, and no big deal. I walk in there, $30, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's delicious.
Yep.
That is
Completely
really
different mouthfeel, though. I mean,
you can tell it's 128 proof.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But not.
So, Joby, where are you in the journey? I mean, you're not on Facebook, so to me, good for you. I'll say that, because the Facebook thing can really kind of push you along to making some financial decisions that maybe you normally wouldn't make. So, good for you there.
I guess when I could I've looked at some people's Facebook and show me some of these things, and it was an eye opener. But I have kind of like.
Have you expanded? I mean, give me 3 things since the last time you were on the show that you've tried that you go, I'm a fan of this now. Can you name 3? Are there 3 things that? Straight from the barrel is probably one of them.
Well, definitely. But, a little bit with just hanging out with Dave, I kind of never really, I had tried some wild turkey here and there. Yeah. When I tried really that rare breed or even that Russell's Reserve, I never really had, even thought about that, because wild turkey, I think, like we talked about one time, was, that's a mixer.
I think it had that stigma for, for older guys like, me that get into bourbon, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. You think of that as a college bourbon, that's what you drink for effect, not for enjoyment.
Ever since, that's probably, I'd say, has kind of been a little bit of a change for me, is I look at wild turkey a lot differently. And just because even when I've gone in a couple places and they got one in a plastic bottle, I still kind of laugh. Yeah. But it's like you can still get it pretty easy, and it's dang good.
I'm going to give you a tip, and call me stupid if you want to. I should have known this or thought of this, and I may have already told you this, Dave. When David Jennings was on Rare Bird 101, if you don't read his blog, he does a great job. You need to go check him out at rarebird101.com. He really, and he wrote a book on wild turkey called American Spirit, Wild Turkey from Rippy to Russell. And, when I think about wild turkey, I always think it started with Jimmy Russell. He's been there 70 years. I mean, right? But it didn't. There's a lot of, like we were talking about earlier with the sour mash from Green Briar, there's a lot of history before Jimmy and the Russell family. And it was really cool to read that book in depth and really get a lot of that history. But anyway, we were talking about Dusties because we know how popular wild turkey Dusties are, whether it's an 8-year age-stated 101 or a 12-year, the old rare breeds, whatever it might be, the cheesy Gulf holes, all those things. And we started having the conversation about will that go away? I mean, obviously that supply is going to be gone at some point.
Right.
Do some of these things then become Dusty's? And he's like, yes. And I'm going, he goes, and I go, man, because I've never been able to get, Dusty's. I'd love to get some. And he goes, get some.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how? And he goes, you make your own.
Yep. They become Dusty's.
They become Dusty's. And so he brought up a good point. And because labels are starting to change on Wild Turkey, I think I went out and bought 4 or 5 of the old label that just changed.
Yep.
And I bought several rare breeds because those are about to change the recipe again.
Yep.
Oh, really?
And so I'm going to start putting all of these away in a closet, or have started. And in 10, 12 years, that'll be our Dusty's that we can come back and compare to what they're doing present day at that time.
And it's stuff that you can find on the shelf in every store.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's
the other
not
thing I want to say about Wild Turkey and Jim Beam as well is another one that people need to explore. And a lot of people getting into bourbon forget that or don't know that Knob Creek and Baker's and these other brands are part of the Jim Beam. Everybody knows Basil Hayden from the bar.
Right.
But the other things but what I want to mention about all of those brands is they do a great job, including Buffalo Trace, who's so sought after with pricing. Mm-hmm. I mean, Buffalo Trace, if you get it at retail, George T. Stagg's $99.
Right.
It's not, and that's 15-year-old, it's a 17-year-old bourbon.
Yep.
$99. And Buffalo Trace really does an outstanding job if you can get it at retail.
Right. I mean, 2 weeks ago, I picked up a E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof.
Yeah.
I mean, retail was $74.
Yeah.
$81 out the door.
Can't beat that.
No. And
secondary goes for $450. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if you can find it at retail, absolutely great pricing. But I think the Wild Turkey products, that and the Jim Beam products, I mean, they're on every shelf.
They're on every shelf.
You can find them.
So they're really blowing out production, which is great. But they don't, it's very popular. I mean, if you did a price increase of 20% across the board on Wild Turkey, it wouldn't dent them and people buying it.
No.
It's that good.
Yep.
I mean, we get rare breed, which is anywhere from 6, 8, and 12-year-old bourbon for $40.
Yep.
So that's an interesting question, though. So in my industry, everything has gone up, okay? Steel prices, you're trying to get stuff shipped across, shipping. So have you guys noticed, because you guys buy wine too, have you noticed a price just because I heard, you can't get glass, you can't get this? Haven't
seen it yet.
Haven't seen it.
Knocked on wood.
What I have seen, though.
I've heard it's coming.
What I have seen, though, is because of the glass problem, for several months, trying to find a handle of Wild Turkey 101 was almost impossible.
Yep.
Really?
And it's still, it's starting to be back on the shelf on a regular basis. But that, and another one, because I'm a big fan of Smoke Wagon, they use
the clear,
amber glass.
That's looks like a little more manual.
The glass that they buy is from Italy. So it's a special amber glass. Well, for 3 months they couldn't get the amber glass, so they were having to bottle it in clear glass.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So what you're basically doing, Joby, is when you drink the straight from the barrel now, that's what this would have been, the single barrel.
Yep.
Correct.
So it's kind of cool to know that this goes to that. That's what you
into
know.
that.
They're like related.
They are. It's just this.
It's like a big uncle and a little cousin.
Well, you could pour, and you'd have to do the math on it. I'm not going to, but a certain amount of this whiskey, the straight from the barrel, and a certain amount of this, which would be a little bit more, and then add enough water to get to this, and they would probably taste almost the same.
Right.
Now, one thing I noticed, though, because I have hunted in Kentucky, by the way, and in Tennessee and around that area. I don't know if it's just me, but like here in Houston, you see the Brazos River. But when you see like rivers and streams over there, like the water there, it's like so much clearer, so much
limestone water.
Exactly. So how much of a factor does that have?
Supposedly it makes a big difference. Same way with pizza crust in New York. I mean, supposedly it's the water and the coal and the.
I think it makes a difference, but I think some people think that's only in Kentucky. It goes into Tennessee, and it also goes up into Ohio.
Yeah.
So some distillers up there get that same. the same water.
Austin is all limestone, so could they make
could be similar.
That's because that's vodka.
yeah. So.
All right. Well, are you happy with your purchase and your bottle of rye?
I mean that bottle. It's bourbon is made to be drank.
And with friends, so thank you for that.
So, but it's just I'm not going to ever throw away that bottle because when I look at it, I'm going to go, man, that bottle traveled a lot of miles.
Mm-hmm. And I would say you were nice to share tonight, but I would say not telling you what to do, but I would hold that tight and share that with people who know what it is and will enjoy it because that's a special bottle, my friend.
Sure.
That's a very special bottle.
You don't come across those very often.
No, and if you don't have any other friends that would enjoy it, find some special occasions every year and let that last a few years and sip on it on those special occasions because that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real good one.
Noted.
Well, man, this was a lot of fun.
Hey,
it was.
Thanks for traveling.
Yeah, man.
Bringing the show to the house here.
That's what makes the show nice. It's mobile. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to this episode of Food, Wine, and Whiskey in Your Own Backyard. And until our next episode, enjoy your next pour.
Stay thirsty, y'all.